stolid crown arches over the Puget Sound. Berenice's hair drapes the horizon to Where is my lucky star tonight? The seventh sister of the Pleiades walks in beauty like the night. Oh, that is best, dark and now lost to me. I'm only trusting the northern star. That's the only point that's fixed.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
I'm James Creechbaum with the Paranormal and World News. Scientists are saying computers, actually ghosts, could be a sign that the universe is a simulation. Simulation theory, the hypothesis that we're just avatars in a simulated universe, it has a new advocate. Speaking at a film festival, University of North Carolina at Wilmington, computer scientist Curry Guin suggested that our world isn't real. According to the WRAL TechWire, though, Guin admitted that it was a fairly speculative idea. He went on to argue that reports of ghosts, deja vu, and weird coincidences could actually be glitches and evidence that we're all trapped in some futuristic society's video game or science experiment. Timely, Guin pointed out that Elon Musk's belief in simulation theory to lend more authority to the idea. And he also suggested that we could build our own simulations in the future. And he suspects that video game developers will lead the way. It is inevitable that we will create realities indistinguishable from this reality, Guin told the crowd. Occasional bugs. To figure out whether or not we're in a simulation, Guin suggests looking for bugs, glitches in the system, deja vu, such as in the Matrix movie when a character sees a cat crossing a doorway repeatedly, maybe one glitch. Guin said ghosts, ESP, coincidences, maybe others. The laws of physics in our universe seem peculiarly designed with a set of constants that make carbon-based life possible. Where are the edges? Also in the news, NASA says it has found building blocks of life and fallen meteorites raining down on Earth. A team of scientists says it's found sugar molecules crucial to the development of life on Earth. In two different fallen meteorites, the discovery suggested that meteor impacts may have delivered the sugars to Earth, per a NASA press release. One of the sugars is the RNA component ribose, a key biological building block, and the discovery that it may have come from space complicates our understanding of how life emerged. Scientists who hail from NASA and a trio of Japanese universities took extra steps to make sure they didn't just contaminate their samples, but the carbon atoms found in the meteorites' sugar molecules were different from those generally found on Earth, and that was published not too long. It doesn't give the date there. But anyway, the team hopes to double-check by searching the Erebos and pristine samples from space rocks, like those taken from the asteroid Ryugu that are currently en route to Earth. Also in the news, Pacific radioactive tomb filled with nuclear waste starting to crack. Back in the 1940s, the U.S. used the Marshall Islands as a nuclear testing site, and as a result, the areas affected are still quite radioactive even now in modern times. Rather than cleaning up our mess properly and just sealed it off, and that seal is quite close to breaking. This radioactive tomb, as people call it, is present on Ruinant Island off the Marshall Islands. It is a big hole filled with nuclear waste and then covered and sealed across the top. Basically, that being said, the dome sealed most of this radioactivity away is cracking thanks to climate change, and if nothing is done about this, it's going to be a serious problem, more so than it already is. In total, this crater holds enough radioactive waste to fill over 30 Olympic-sized swimming pools, according to Business Insider. And if exposed to the outside world, could cause serious damage to the people present on or around the island. You see, most of the soil within the dome carries something known as plutonium. It is also important to note that while the top of this dome was covered, has covered the inside of it, and the bottom is not even lined with concrete or anything else of the sort. Thus meaning, if it were to become submerged, that too would be another issue in itself. Next news break, top of the hour.
You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with our host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Well, let's get a hold of our guest, Joe Taylor. I noticed he was calling, James, while you were talking. So we'll have to get him on here. And he should be on here really well. Hi, Joe. How you doing? Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, but I'm hearing myself talking there.
How about now?
Not as bad. Not
Is
as
that
bad.
better?
No. I noticed you called I'm still hearing myself. Well, there,
I've got Skype. Shall I turn Skype off?
Okay, well, what the number I called you on, is that your landline or is that Skype?
It's a cell phone number.
Well, okay. Well, whatever we're on right now, okay, it's doing better now. So, yeah, I noticed you called my cell phone while James was doing the news, and my cell phone doesn't connect us to the show. So I know that was Joe. So I quickly, had to get onto you. We got the news now on the top of the hour. James gives us Earth news and all that stuff from, Antarctica to cryptics to, that. Well, hey, James, what was that bat? Why don't you tell Joe about that bat?
Oh yes, that bat. It's called fuzzy grandpa bat, and it's a big bat. Its head looks like a dog. I mean, it's amazing. It's a dog. It looks like an average to big sized dog with wings, and it's called a fuzzy grandpa bat, and that's what it looks like. It's kind of fuzzy, got hair. Looks like it's really freaky looking. It's got a pretty good wingspan on it too, and I got to tell you, if you'd see that flying, especially if it's not native to the United States, you would think, oh my goodness, what kind of cryptid is that?
Yeah, it's got a wingspan of about 4 feet, doesn't it, or more?
Yeah, depending on how big they get, but yeah, they're big.
It's about the size of a big Chihuahua or a small terrier.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a bat. They got the most widest variety of faces of any species of animal. They just go from the weirdest things, that dog-looking thing. Yeah, I've seen photographs of that. They're a weird animal. Maybe that's what Mothman is.
Well, maybe a Mothman on steroids.
It got into some fertilizer in a field somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is going, Joe? I mean, how's your museum doing? Did you get the roof ever fixed?
Well, we pretty well got it fixed, and it rains, and something else opens up. The hail did a lot of damage, and we've got it all covered. So we're just watching every time it rains to see if we can find something else that's opening up. But I got a guy on top of it. So I've had a lady cleaning the museum up this week. Just, it's dusty and dirty, and stuff came out of the ceiling. So they're making headway on that. We're technically open, but we're not really open. But there's a friend of mine, he's the guy that actually saw and shot the Bigfoot. He's recuperating from a hospital stay, and he's he comes to the museum with a 45 on his hip, just like Old West. And he's down there to greet people, and they're all very respectful.
Interesting.
Anyway, he's keeping it open during the day for the most part, so if anybody does come in, they can at least see things. But it'll be another month or two before we can actually open up so we get things really back in order.
Hey,
we're working on it.
Have you seen that enhanced version of the Peterson's film, the Bigfoot, that has been cleaned up and now it's 4K, that you can actually easily see the muscle movement on the legs and arm and stuff while it's moving?
Yeah, I saw that. Now, I don't know if that's the same one, but M.K. Davis showed us a version of that that he was working on when we were in Death Valley a few months ago. And I was kind of filming the conversation. He said I couldn't film it, so maybe he's released it now. But, yeah, he had got it all straightened out so that animal walked straight and all the movement was taken out of the handheld camera. But yeah. I don't see anybody could deny that is a real being walking across there.
Well, I was looking at the video because it's on YouTube now, and you can actually now, since they cleaned it up and it's 4K, which makes it a lot sharper, you can actually see as it takes a step. You can see the tissue moving up and down on the lower leg, upper thigh area. The muscle movement, and that right there is clearly noticeable. Where if it was in a costume or what have you, especially back then, you wouldn't be seeing that.
Yeah. Well, unless you're a Hollywood makeup guy, I mean, look at the monkey suits and the stuff like that back at that time. They weren't really that good, and that's how the top Hollywood costume makers, I don't think ever came up with anything that believable. Maybe, but still, these guys, just a couple local guys, made up a suit that's really super. No, that kind of puts it in the realm of the real. But those muscle movements, that you can't fake that. Nobody would even think about that if you were making a suit.
No, and on top of it, you know what? As James mentioned earlier, the booby move. The boobs and all that stuff move with each footstep and all that. Yeah. And then the arm, up in the shoulder, you can see the muscle movement there. And each step it takes, I mean, it clearly doesn't walk like a human walks. I can tell you that much.
No, and the way it turns and looks back, that's because it has no neck. Its head sitting on its shoulders pretty much. And again, that would be, if you're trying to fake up a costume like that, you'd have to be a practical genius to account for that. For a few seconds of film, that's a lot of trouble. I think it's just a real film.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm glad that our technology has advanced so far that they could actually, enhance it. Now, the lady in your area that encountered the Mothman, has there been any more talk about it, any more sightings of Mothman or anything in your area?
Well, the last thing, I may have already told you about that, was last November. She was driving down 651 again out north of our town here on the highway, Route 651 that runs right by my museum, going north out of the canyon right up where I grew up. And